Hello, friends. First of all, what is agnostic thought? Let's discuss this.
In short, it's the idea that claims the existence of God and the truth of religions cannot be scientifically proven. In other words, we cannot know whether God exists or not. Since these are subjective opinions and thoughts, there will be as many interpretations as there are people. However, we can address it at a fundamental level. The claim that faith is not scientific is absolutely incorrect. First, let's clear up these ambiguities. In fact, agnosticism is a person's own belief. In other words, their own act of closing their eyes. We could say it is turning a blind eye. That is, in reality, in the actual state of things, everything is evidence. The entire universe is evidence. It is an idea influenced by the school of skepticism in philosophy, trying to show traces of that influence in religion. We can say that its true equivalent is, in fact, completely turning a blind eye.
We mentioned in our previous discussion that existence can be proven, but non-existence cannot be proven. Could we briefly summarize that as well?
Briefly, as a reminder from our previous lesson, the proof of existence is everything. As for non-existence, we proved that it cannot be demonstrated, especially in matters concerning the public, in issues and events that encompass the universe. The proof of non-existence cannot be established and is not scientific. Now, first of all, something either exists or does not exist. It cannot be both existent and non-existent at the same time. If we ask what the proof of existence is, or whether it is scientific, or what constitutes evidence, it is well known that every work of art requires an artist, every action has an agent, and every creation has a creator. But what is true scientific method? For example, how many actions are involved in a simple table?
Basically, lots happen.
If the action there is not scientific evidence pointing to an agent, then in your opinion, what does a simple action in a table point to? What here is scientific and what is not scientific? Let me pose the question to you. It becomes evidence that leads from the work to its creator.
Of course, now when we see a table, even the simplest table, what do we say? There is an action in it. It is perfectly crafted, made with wisdom and purpose. In how many ways do we immediately say that there is a master of that action, there is an artisan? In other words, to believe in the existence of the master, there is no need to see the master with your own eyes, because the action directly points to its agent. Art points to its artist.
How scientific is it not to accept this as scientific evidence? And if we were to say here, no, it cannot be scientifically proven that this table points to a maker. Therefore, we do not accept the existence of a maker, or we cannot know whether there is a maker or not. How logical and scientific is it to adopt such a way of thinking?
It is definitely not scientific.
In other words, in the universe, everything, every action points to its doer, every art to its artist, every work to its maker. This is how it goes. While everything is evidence of existence, it is absolutely impossible to prove non-existence in any way. When it comes to matters concerning the universe and all times, one can prove and demonstrate their claim by seeing and showing it in all times. Therefore, in general matters, it is not possible to prove non-existence. It cannot be proven.